Some people don't just fall in love, they fall into emotional stories that slowly break them. They hold on to love that hurts. They chase people who don't choose them. They give themselves to partners who don't know how to hold them. And even when they feel themselves sinking, they return again and again to the same type of person, the same pattern, the same wound. They don't do it because they enjoy pain. They don't do it because they don't know their worth. They don't do it because they want to suffer. They do it because the mind remembers, because the body recognizes, because the heart insists on returning to what feels familiar, even when what feels familiar hurts. Today, we're going deep, very deep, into the psychology of people who keep choosing the wrong partners. And maybe, as you listen, you'll discover parts of yourself that you've never been able to put into words. Breathe. Let's begin. If this resonates with you, stay until the end and subscribe for more deep explorations from the psychology of people. Now we go inside the mind. I want you to imagine a scene. Someone standing in front of a partner who doesn't value them. Someone who appears and disappears. Someone who promises and doesn't follow through. Someone who gives affection one day and cold distance the next. Anyone watching from the outside would say, "Why don't you leave? Why are you still there? Why do you choose this when you could choose better?" But what looks like a logical decision from the outside is a deeply emotional maze from the inside, a psychological labyrinth where every hallway leads to a memory, a wound, a learned way of loving, because no one chooses the wrong partner from logic. They choose from the emotional story they carry inside. Some people grew up learning that love means fighting. Love means effort. Love means sacrifice. Love means uncertainty. Love means never feeling fully safe. If you grew up with unstable love, your nervous system confuses stability with lack of interest. If you grew up with distant love, your heart confuses indifference with passion. If you grew up with love that hurt, your mind confuses pain with emotional depth. And that's how repetition begins. A repetition that is silent, automatic, unconscious. Most people think they choose their partners with their heart, but in reality, the choice is made much earlier, in childhood, in adolescence, in the first emotional bond that taught you what love should feel like. The love we receive as children doesn't only shape what we think we deserve, it shapes what we seek as adults, even if that love came with fear, with abandonment, with criticism, with cold silences, with conditions, with uncertainty. Because the mind doesn't seek what is healthy. The mind seeks what is familiar. And if what you knew was love that hurt, then when healthy love appears, your nervous system rejects it. It questions it. It mistrusts it. It dismantles it piece by piece. Because healthy love doesn't feel familiar. And what doesn't feel familiar feels unsafe. Meanwhile, what is toxic, intense, unstable, feels like home. And here is where the problem begins. Let's go deeper, because I want you to understand something important. Choosing a partner is not just emotional, it is biological, neurological, physiological. When you experience unstable relationships growing up, your nervous system learns to live in constant alert, to anticipate abandonment, to prepare for rejection, to expect emotional inconsistency. That state becomes your normal. Your body becomes addicted to emotional adrenaline, to the roller coaster created by partners who don't offer safety. So when someone stable shows up, your body doesn't know what to do. It doesn't recognize that energy. It doesn't know how to exist in calm. Calmness becomes uncomfortable, strange, heavy, suspicious. That's why so many people say things like, with the good person, I don't feel anything. There's no chemistry. I don't feel the spark. It's not that there's no chemistry. It's that your brain is used to the chemistry of chaos, the chemistry of fear, the chemistry of emotional roller coasters. Calmness doesn't produce that chemistry. Calmness produces peace. But if you've never lived in peace, your body doesn't recognize it as love, so it rejects it. Now, let's move to the second layer, self-worth. Self-worth plays a huge role in partner choice. People who choose the wrong partners often carry a quiet inner voice saying, I'm not enough. I deserve very little. Good love isn't for me. I should be grateful for anything I get. If I ask for more, they'll leave. Love always feels like this. That inner voice is powerful. It dictates who you allow into your life. It dictates what behavior you tolerate. It dictates how you explain things that shouldn't need explaining. Someone who feels unworthy accepts crumbs as if they were everything. Someone who feels invisible accepts partners who barely pay attention. Someone who feels broken accepts partners who break them even more. This doesn't happen because people want pain. It happens because they think, even unconsciously, that this is the level of love they are allowed to receive. Now we enter the third layer, trauma. Trauma does not only hurt, it shapes, it conditions, it silences, it repeats, it engraves beliefs into the nervous system. People with relational trauma tend to choose partners who activate the same wounds, not because they want to suffer, but because the mind tries to resolve the story. It's like the mind says, if I can make this person who reminds me of my past love me, then I will finally heal. But healing never works that way. Repeating is not healing. You cannot close old wounds by reopening them through new relationships. And that's just the beginning. The deeper we go into this psychology, the more we reveal a truth that is uncomfortable but liberating. People who choose the wrong partners are not broken. They are not weak. They are not hopeless. They are simply following emotional blueprints they never realized existed. Blueprints created in silence. Blueprints engraved through the years. Blueprints that the mind follows automatically until someone becomes aware enough to rewrite them. Now let's explore another layer, emotional hunger. Some people enter relationships not from fullness, but from emptiness. They enter from a place of loneliness, unmet needs, and emotional deprivation. And when you enter from scarcity, you don't look for compatibility. You look for relief, for distraction, for intensity that fills the silence inside, for someone who gives you something, anything, that temporarily covers the emptiness you carry. But here's the psychological trap. When you are starving, you grab whatever is in front of you, even if it harms you. You grab the emotional equivalent of junk food, something that feels good for a moment, but slowly destroys you over time. People don't always choose the wrong partner because the partner is wrong. Sometimes they choose them because they are emotionally starving. And when you're starving, you don't choose wisely. You choose quickly. You choose desperately. You choose to feel something instead of nothing. This leads to another powerful psychological concept, attachment wounds. Attachment shapes our entire relationship world. It decides how we love, how we react, how we trust, and how we run away. People with an anxious attachment style tend to choose partners who activate their anxiety. People with avoidant attachment tend to choose partners who confirm that closeness is dangerous. People with disorganized attachment often feel pulled toward relationships that recreate chaos because chaos is what their nervous system recognizes. Let's break this down. If you have an anxious attachment, you may be drawn to distant people because they activate your fear of rejection and your desperate need to prove your worth. If you have avoidant attachment, you may choose emotionally unavailable partners because it justifies your instinct to pull away while still feeling like you are trying. If you have disorganized attachment, you may choose people who shift between love and neglect because that emotional unpredictability mirrors what you learned growing up. In every case, the mind is not choosing what is healthy. It is choosing what fits your internal map of love. Now let's explore something even deeper. The subconscious need to reenact the past. People who choose the wrong partners often carry unresolved emotional stories. Stories of abandonment, stories of neglect, stories of rejection, stories of inconsistency, and without realizing it, they try to complete those stories through the partner they choose. It works like this. If a parent was emotionally distant, you may choose someone who is emotionally distant, hoping that this time the ending will be different. If a parent was unpredictable, you may choose someone unstable, hoping that this time you'll finally feel chosen. If a parent made you earn love, you may choose partners who make you chase them, hoping that if you run hard enough, you'll finally win. This is not conscious. This is not intentional. This is not logical. It is emotional repetition. The psyche trying to solve what was never resolved, but you cannot fix the past by repeating it. You only reopen the same wound. Let's go now into one of the most painful truths. People who choose the wrong partners often confuse love with suffering. They grew up believing that love requires sacrifice, that love means pleasing others, that love means waiting, that love means pain. So when someone treats them kindly, it feels unfamiliar, suspicious, even boring. Healthy love is often quiet, predictable, steady, soft. For someone who never experienced that, calmness feels like a lie. They expect the sudden shift, the emotional withdrawal, the explosion. They brace for impact even when there is none. And in that tension, healthy love becomes uncomfortable. So they return to the storm, the passion mixed with fear, the intensity mixed with uncertainty, the excitement mixed with anxiety, not because they want suffering, but because they equate suffering with depth. Now let's examine the role of identity. Some people build their identity around saving others, around being the healer, the rescuer, the one who loves more, the one who forgives everything, the one who keeps the relationship alive. These people unconsciously seek out partners who are emotionally unstable because it gives them a role to play, a purpose, a confirmation of the identity they formed long ago. But the truth is, being needed is not the same as being loved. Fixing someone is not the same as building a healthy bond. Carrying the relationship alone is not a sign of strength. It is a sign of emotional exhaustion disguised as loyalty. Now let's go deeper into the nervous system. People who choose the wrong partners often have dysregulated nervous systems. They mistake adrenaline for passion. They mistake anxiety for connection. They mistake tension for chemistry. A healthy partner doesn't spike your stress hormones. A healthy partner doesn't make your stomach hurt. A healthy partner doesn't keep you guessing. A healthy partner doesn't trigger your fight or flight response. But if you grew up in unpredictability, your nervous system associates chaos with aliveness. So calmness feels flat, peace feels empty, stability feels emotionally numb. It takes time to understand that peace is not lack of love. Peace is the beginning of real love. Finally, let's explore one of the most hidden layers, the fear of true intimacy. True intimacy requires trust, honesty, vulnerability, letting someone see your flaws, your fears, your wounds, your real self. People who choose the wrong partners often avoid intimacy by choosing people who cannot offer it. If your partner is distant, you never need to open up. If your partner is unstable, you focus on fixing them so you never have to face yourself. If your partner is inconsistent, you are always busy worrying instead of connecting. Choosing an unavailable partner becomes a shield, a protective mechanism, a way to avoid the terrifying possibility of being seen and rejected. It feels safer to love someone who cannot love you fully than to risk being fully loved and losing it. And this is the quiet tragedy of the pattern. To understand why people keep choosing the wrong partners, we must explore one of the deepest psychological forces we carry, the fear of abandonment. This fear is not loud. It doesn't scream. It whispers. It hides beneath your decisions, behind your reactions, under your tolerance of behaviors that should never be tolerated. People who fear abandonment don't chase love. They chase reassurance, validation, signs that they won't be left, signs that they are worth staying for, signs that someone finally chooses them. This fear creates patterns like staying in relationships long after they've become harmful, overgiving until exhaustion, apologizing for things that aren't your fault, lowering your standards to avoid conflict, accepting mistreatment because losing them feels worse, pretending you're okay just to keep the peace. People with abandonment wounds often think they are choosing love, but really, they are avoiding loss. And avoiding loss keeps them stuck in relationships that slowly destroy them. Now, let's go deeper into trauma bonding. Trauma bonding is one of the most misunderstood psychological phenomena. It is not love. It is not romantic. It is not destiny. It is a neurological attachment formed through cycles of reward and punishment. When a partner gives affection inconsistently, the brain starts to crave their approval. When someone hurts you and then apologizes with intensity, your nervous system stores that pattern as emotional relief. This cycle creates a powerful bond, stronger than many healthy bonds. You don't stay because of love. You stay because of addiction. Addiction to hope. Addiction to relief. Addiction to the emotional high you get when the cold partner suddenly becomes warm again. This is why leaving a toxic relationship feels impossible. You're not fighting your partner, you're fighting your biology. Now let's talk about emotional mirrors. People often choose partners who reflect the parts of themselves they don't want to face. If you believe you're not enough, you choose someone who confirms that belief. If you believe love must be earned, you choose someone who makes you earn it. If you believe you're hard to love, you choose someone who struggles to love you. The partner becomes a mirror for your deepest wounds. And until those wounds are healed, you continue choosing the reflection that hurts you. One of the most painful mirrors appears in people who think, I can't let this person go. They need me. But the truth is, it's not that they need you. It's that you need the feeling of being needed. You need to feel useful. You need to feel irreplaceable. You need to feel valuable through self-sacrifice. This is not love. This is emotional survival. Now let's examine the role of boundaries. People who repeatedly choose the wrong partners often have weak or non-existent boundaries, not because they don't want boundaries, but because they never learned that they were allowed to have them. If you grew up in a household where saying no was punished, you learned to say yes to avoid conflict. If expressing your needs caused rejection, you learned to stay silent. If your emotions were dismissed, you learned that asking for anything is too much. So as an adult, you enter relationships without the internal tools that protect you. You tolerate too much. You forgive too quickly. You overlook red flags. You carry emotional weight that isn't yours. You stay in relationships where love is conditional because somewhere deep inside, you believe you have no right to ask for more. Now let's explore another powerful driver, emotional avoidance. Some people choose the wrong partners, not because they want chaos, but because healthy love demands emotional exposure. Healthy relationships require saying what you feel, admitting when you're scared, being honest when something hurts, letting someone into your internal world, letting someone love you without earning it. For many, this is unbearable, so they choose partners who never require intimacy, partners who are distant, partners who keep things shallow, partners who avoid emotional depth. This protects them from vulnerability, from being seen, from the fear that if someone saw their real self, they would walk away. Healthy love is terrifying for people who have been emotionally wounded. Unhealthy love feels safer because it keeps the heart hidden. Now let's talk about subconscious punishment. People who carry unresolved guilt sometimes choose partners who mistreat them as a way of punishing themselves. It may sound extreme, but the psychology is real. If someone feels they are too much, they choose someone who confirms it. If someone feels unworthy, they choose someone who reinforces that belief. If someone feels responsible for past failures, they choose partners who emotionally punish them for normal mistakes. It becomes a cycle of self-sabotage disguised as love. Next, we explore the role of loneliness. Loneliness is one of the strongest forces in human behavior. When someone fears being alone, they will accept the bare minimum. They will mistake attention for affection, presence for commitment, intensity for love, sex for connection. Loneliness convinces you that any company is better than none. But the truth is, loneliness inside a relationship is far more painful than loneliness on your own. Let's explore emotional neglect. People who grew up emotionally neglected often don't realize they were neglected. They assume everyone lives with emotional emptiness. They normalize being unseen. They normalize being independent to the extreme. They normalize not asking for help. They normalize silence. They normalize relationships where emotional connection is rare. So when someone shows them genuine care, it feels overwhelming, suspicious, too intense, too close, too foreign. So they return to partners who feel emotionally distant because distance feels familiar and familiar feels safe. Now we go to one of the deepest psychological truths. You accept the love you believe you deserve, not the love you want, not the love you dream about, not the love you intellectually know exists. You choose the love you believe matches your internal worth. If you believe you deserve chaos, you choose chaos. If you believe you deserve inconsistency, you choose inconsistency. If you believe you deserve someone cold, you choose someone cold. Until the belief changes, the pattern continues. Finally, let's explore the turning point: awareness. Awareness is the moment you see the pattern clearly enough that you can no longer pretend it's coincidence. It is the moment something inside you whispers, "This isn't fate, this is repetition, and I can choose differently." Awareness doesn't break the cycle instantly, but it cracks the pattern. It opens space for healing. It helps the nervous system learn that peace is not boring, that safety is not suspicious, that love is not supposed to hurt. Awareness is the beginning of choosing differently. It is the moment you stop chasing love that wounds you and start opening yourself to love that heals you. Before we reach the final message, we need to explore the most transformative part of all: how to reprogram the mind and finally break the cycle of choosing the wrong partners. Let's begin with the nervous system. When your body is used to chaos, peace feels unfamiliar, and anything unfamiliar feels unsafe. So the first step is not choosing differently. The first step is teaching your nervous system that safety is not a threat. This requires small, consistent experiences of calm, gentle relationships, predictable routines, stable environments, quiet mornings, slow conversations, moments where nothing hurts and nothing is missing. Healing begins the moment your nervous system learns that calmness doesn't mean danger, it means freedom. Next, reprogram the internal belief system. You must challenge the silent beliefs that dictate your choices. I'm not enough. I've never been chosen. I'm hard to love. Healthy people don't want me. Love always ends in pain. These are not truths. These are memories, echoes of the past pretending to be facts. But the moment you question them, they begin to lose power. Now let's talk about emotional regulation. People who choose the wrong partners often feel emotions intensely: fear, longing, anxiety, hope, obsession. These emotions push them toward unhealthy choices because intense feelings make unhealthy love seem meaningful. Learning to regulate your emotional waves helps you distinguish love from anxiety, chemistry from trauma, connection from addiction. Next, boundaries. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about protecting the version of yourself you're becoming. When you practice boundaries, you naturally stop tolerating what your past self accepted. Healthy boundaries sound like: I don't accept inconsistency. I don't chase. I don't prove my worth. I don't argue with disrespect. I don't carry emotional weight that isn't mine. I don't justify hurtful behavior. With boundaries, the wrong partners eliminate themselves. Loneliness is one of the strongest forces in when they cannot take advantage. When someone fears silence, being alone, they will let's explore the transformation stage. They will mistake partners for affection, not presence for commitment. Intensity choosing consciously means you ask for connection. Does this person make my life softer? Loneliness convinces my nervous system any company is better than none. But the truth is, loneliness being inside a relationship is far more painful than loneliness on your own. Emotionally available? Let's explore. If the answer is no, neglect, the relationship is not healthy. Emotionally no matter how intense often don't realize healthy love doesn't require they assume everyone lives. Healthy love doesn't create anxiety. Healthy love doesn't normalize shrink being unseen. Healthy love feels like they normalize being independent to the extreme. There is another essential element not asking to breaking help. The cycle. They normalize silence, connection. They normalize relationships. People where emotional repeatedly choose the wrong partner. So when someone are often disconnected from themselves, it feels overwhelming. They confuse someone else's attention with their own sense of identity. Too foreign. They rely so they return on the relationships who feel worthy, distant, visible, because distant feels familiar, alive, and but familiar when you reconnect safe with yourself. Now we go to stop needing someone else psychological truths. You become
accept
whole
the
on your
love
own.
you believe you deserve.
And from that wholeness,
not the love
your
you
standards
want,
rise naturally.
not the love you
Your
dream
clarity
about,
sharpens.
not the love
Your boundaries
you intellectually
strengthen.
know exists.
Your heart becomes
You choose
wiser.
the love you believe
Let's
matches
go
your
into the
internal
most
worth.
powerful shift of all.
If you believe you
learning
deserve
what
healthy
chaos
love,
actually feels
you
like.
choose
Healthy
chaos.
love feels like
If you believe you deserve
inconsistency.
healthy love feels like
you choose
emotional safety.
inconsistency.
Healthy love. If you
feels
believe
like
you deserve
soft
someone
excitement,
cold, you
not
choose someone
overwhelming
cold.
fireworks.
Until the belief
Healthy
changes,
love feels
the pattern
like being
continues,
seen,
not being chased.
Finally,
healthy
let's
love
explore
feels
the
like
turning
clarity,
point,
not
awareness.
confusion. Healthy
Awareness
love feels
is the
like
moment you
two
see the pattern
people
clearly
choosing
enough
each other
where
fully
you can no
without
longer
fear,
pretend it's
without
coincidence.
games, without
It is the
emotional
moment
chaos.
something inside
Healthy
you
love
whispers,
doesn't feel
this isn't
like
fate.
a drug.
It
This is
feels like a
repetition
home you never had before.
and I can choose differently.
Finally, we reach
Awareness
the closing truth.
doesn't break the cycle
Breaking the
instantly,
pattern,
but it
begins
begins
with
with
one brave moment.
It opens
where
space
you
for
choose
healing.
yourself
It
instead of
helps the
choosing
nervous
the
system
pain you're used to.
learn that peace is not
you
boring.
choose healing instead of repeating.
That safety is not
You
suspicious.
choose peace
That
instead
love
of chaos.
is not supposed to
You
hurt.
choose boundaries instead
Awareness
of silence.
is the beginning.
You choose your
of choosing
future
differently.
instead of your past.
It is the moment
you
choose
stop
the
chasing
love you deserve
that wounds
instead
you
of the love you learn,
and start opening yourself
because the
to
real
love that heals you.
transformation doesn't happen when you find the right person. The real transformation happens the moment you realize you are becoming the right person for yourself. And when you become that person, the wrong partners no longer feel attractive. They feel foreign. They feel too small for who you are becoming. They feel incompatible with the love you now know you deserve. You stop chasing potential. You stop rescuing. You stop justifying. You stop shrinking. You stop breaking yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. And slowly one day, love begins to look different, healthier, softer, more stable, more peaceful, more human. You will feel the shift, a moment where someone treats you with tenderness and you don't run, a moment where someone respects your boundaries and you feel gratitude instead of fear, a moment where someone communicates clearly and you don't question it, a moment where calmness feels like warmth, not boredom, a moment where love finally feels like home, not like survival. And when that moment arrives, you will understand something profound. It was never about choosing the wrong partners. It was about healing the parts of you that believed the wrong partners were the only ones available. Because once your wounds stop choosing for you, your heart becomes free to choose differently. Free to choose love that nurtures you, love that respects you, love that grows with you, love that supports you, love that doesn't hurt just to feel real. And the most beautiful truth of all, the moment you learn to love yourself deeply, you will never again be attracted to someone who doesn't. If you felt something shift inside you while listening, don't walk away from that. Subscribe to The Psychology of People, because understanding yourself is the most powerful form of freedom.